Hello, my name is John Hudson, and it is June 1st, 2014. Although for this Fundamentals of Physics course, the month of May, my instructor is Raul Vargas. One thing I will be covering is patterns of motion, and speed, which is how fast something is going, and velocity, which is how fast something is going in a constant direction. Also, I will be talking about Newton's third law, which is a force is a push or pull that acts upon an object as a result of its interaction with another object, and their relativity to guns and video game design. Wind and gravity are two factors that will definitely affect the velocity, speed, and accuracy of a bullet when firing. Here are a few pistols that are very similar to guns that are used in games such as Battlefield, Call of Duty, and many other shooters that we know today. On the left is a 45 caliber Colt 45 with a 160 grain bullet. In the middle is a Smith & Wesson 357, which is a 35 caliber and a 140 grain bullet. And on the right is a very small 22 Ruger, which is a 22 caliber with just a 40 grain bullet. Velocity and speed are a large part of the power different guns have, and those are determined by the caliber of the gun and the grain, which is the weight of the bullet. Also, a large factor in accuracy and recovery time for your next shot has to do with Newton's third law and the fact that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Which is also known as the recoil or the kick of the gun. The amount of energy that it takes to force the bullet out of the gun also has to go somewhere else, which is dispersed into your shoulder. The larger the gun, the much higher of the kick, and the more time it takes to react and get your next shot accurate. This is a 30-30, similar to what you would start out with in Call of Duty. It travels about 1,500 feet per second to 2,000, depending on the bullet size and grain. As you can tell, it's got a little bit of recoil, which has to do with about a 10 pounds of energy it takes to force the bullet out that fast, and that disperses 10 pounds of energy back into your shoulder. As you can tell, this is a very high caliber weapon, a 7mm mag, which is comparable to weapons such as AK-47s and your HKs and your heavy machine guns in Call of Duty and other shooters. It travels at about 1,400 to 1,900 feet per second, depending on the grain of the bullet, from a 150 to a 190 grain. It has a high recoil and takes a while in between shots in order to get your accuracy. This may be a pistol you find yourself starting out with in certain shooter games. It's a 22 long rifle pistol. It only has a 40 grain bullet, and about 1,000 feet per second is about how fast the bullet travels. It's very small, so it may take a few shots to take someone down in game. I know you're thinking, man, that's a huge gun. And it is. A Colt 45. It shoots about 1,400 feet per second with a 90 grain bullet. It's got a large recoil, as you can tell. You can't just pop at the trigger and expect for it to be accurate. It's a very large gun. The caliber of guns, grain of the bullets, wind, range are all factors of velocity as well as recoil of the weapon that involve physics and have to be known by game design in order to make things as realistic as possible during shooting games. A little weapon with no recoil will more than likely do less damage than a large gun that will have a good amount of recoil and take a little longer to readjust for accuracy. Game designers must know how to calculate the velocity, the caliber of the weapon, the grain of the bullet, and the distance people will be shooting in games in order to make things accurate all across the board and make people happy. My name is John Hudson, and thank you for watching my video.